Whoa, where am I on the... I gotta move my thing here. Last night, my buddy had me, I had to like take a class for him or something. He's like he's an electrical engineer, but he was busy. So I had to take his online class for him, and I had to move my webcam around. I don't know why it's doing that now. There we go. Seems a little better. Oh man, I gotta tell you, this has been a really, really, really beautiful setup, and I've talked a little bit about this. Obviously, over the last couple weeks, I just want to go ahead and clean some of this up. We're gonna go through and really clean up these charts a little bit, but this is what I want to focus. This is the part I want you guys to focus on here. It's this aspect right here. This, my friends, is a reverse bump and run pattern. So you have your move down, you have your bump, and then the run starts here. Well, we break out, all right, and we back test the trend line here. And in fact, it would actually be, I'm looking at both of these now and I'm seeing we back tested this one, but it would actually be this guy here that we would be back testing, and it would depend on how you draw it. So let me pull this up here because I know I have the other one. There it is. So it looks like this was the more valid one. I was watching the lower one. But what the bump and run pattern is when you break out, come back, back test. I'm actually kind of pissed that I had the other one on there because I was expecting lower last night. Back test the zone, and then boom, you get the move to the upside. God, this would have been a fucking layup. This would have been a layup. Look at that. This is a really beautiful bump and run pattern. This is textbook. Come up. ABC. Break. Back test. Break to the upside. It was a really nice bump and run pattern. For me personally, I wouldn't expect this to stop, and I would be surprised if it were to backtest again or like come down again. I've seen things like that happen, but at that point, I wouldn't even call it a bump and run pattern anymore. At that point, it just turns into your, essentially trading a range. If this were to come back down, I wouldn't even think the range low would be there. It would probably be like right here. If this were to come back down and quote unquote back test again, I wouldn't think of it that way. And a really good example of that is we can look back really, really, really far actually, and we can take a look. There's a perfect example of this that, like a quote unquote sort of failed a bump and run pattern. Wow, this chart doesn't even go that far back. I wouldn't even call it a failed bump and run pattern, but it doesn't quite get the run you would expect. Oh, let's see here. We're gonna pull this up. It's gonna be right here. So again, very similar, right? You have your, I don't even know that you'd call this really a bump and run. I think you'd have to move the, yeah, I think you'd have to move it here for it to be a little more accurate. But, essentially something like this where price breaks out, back test, and then, comes down and back test again. And again, we could draw this all kinds of ways here, but, say it's something like this. And then like what happens is it just sort of consolidated out of here and then went even lower again. No matter really how you draw this trend line, that's sort of how it all played out. And so, these things can happen, and at that point I wouldn't even call it a bump and run. It just is like even this here, if we drew it this way, okay, it broke out, came back tested, and then we had this move up. But like a bump and run, the run is supposed to run right? this isn't really much of a run. This still falls inside the context of ranging, right? And so that's just one thing that it's important to be aware of. I don't think that we have to necessarily think about it in that way just yet with BTC, because there isn't really any, the proofs in the pudding, and right now it looks, it looks good. So we are about to have New York open. Pull this up here. All right, let me clean up the chart here. I'm gonna do a very short update, and we're gonna have a short stream today. So I do like that trend line. I'm gonna get rid of this one. This guy obviously is a must-have. I wonder why it's like that though. Will that path work? Well, originally I had this drawn over here. Yeah. Broke out of this downtrend. Pretty big deal. Make a lot of sense to back test into here. There I were. These are the only two I really care about. Crazy, this is a 1 hour. Why is it drawn like that? Doesn't really make sense, does it? telling you right now that monthly open is going to be a really big level. That is a massive level. Probably doesn't even go that low. Yeah, I could see this thing doing like a... I say this all the fucking time. It's really just a beautiful thing. What I would expect locally here is that we have a range. We've swept the range high. I would look for a sweep of range low. And then continuation to the upside. At least to Monday high. That's what I would look for. To start things off, that makes the most sense to me. Yeah, I would say this 14,900 zone is going to be the key area, probably the highest that we see it go. On the day at least. Yeah, 14,600 would kind of be like my cap on the day. Oh wow, look at all these buy walls. 12,300. Oh, yeah, maybe we rotate to the lows. I guess it's possible. I feel like, you know, Monday high is going to get swept. And again, I do think we'll run into like the mid 14s. Basically into this zone up in here. Now, how that happens again is always the big question. I would look for some kind of a deviation, maybe a move slightly lower down into here. But nonetheless, I would look for that continuation to the upside. I think it's unlikely that we get this wick down. It's probably more likely that we do see some kind of a move just more immediate towards the upside within this local range here. If it really starts to break down and does come into here, I would be a little bit hesitant to long. I know that it's held a support. Now, you know, this line's been tapped 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, 4 different times here, and it's getting a little excessive for the amount of times that you would want to see that happen. And we're failing to break above and hold above this channel here, which is fine. Price can range in a channel for a period of time, but we're probably nearing the end of the amount of time it's going to spend on the side of this channel, whether that means breaking up or down. So it's just something to bear in mind. But we're going to go ahead and call it on stream. We're going to be a little shorter today. I'm going to get this stuff posted to the Discord. Solana is another one I was going to look to take this setup, something to the effect of this setup. Yesterday, we never got that move down. I was looking for a move like that to happen. With Solana and not quite ETH, but specifically Solana, I really liked for long. You can see that it's sort of just been inside of this triangle for quite some time. I wouldn't be surprised if we do come down in here at some point. But yeah, we obviously didn't get the move down that I was looking for. So again, yeah, I'll get this posted in the group. This is going to kind of be like the setup that I'm looking for on the day. Otherwise, I'm still expecting continuation throughout the week. My weekly analysis, I had said weekly open and Monday high will be a big area of resistance in my opinion. Here we are now. The reason being that if it claims that zone and flips the weekly into looking pretty bullish and leaves room to run to 116.7. Because we had that weekly SFP and run up to 125, and being that September is historically not bullish for BTC, I'm expecting price to do more ranging from here, say between 110 and 117. I think we get a move into the 113.6 zone, close out the week inside Monday range. If the current low is lost, the next logical support is 103.5. So yeah, this is a really big area of resistance for me for that reason. If, you know, price were to get above here, personally, I don't think it's going to spend a lot of time above there, and I don't think it's going to close the week up there. So, you know, whatever happens above this level, oops. Yeah, and you know what? I don't even need that. Whatever happens above this level, you know, I think it's going to be, even if it's that high, it's going to be short-lived, and I think that price is going to come down pretty fucking hard afterwards. So, all right, cool. We'll go ahead and call it there. As always, guys, thank you for joining me. I'll get this stuff posted into the group, and I will be back in the morning for a usual Friday stream. Bye.